Good morning, everyone. My name is Sandy Knight. I am the president of the IAMCP Boston chapter, and I'm helping to facilitate today's webinar. I'd like to welcome you all and thank you for joining us for the second event in our Far Apart series, Don't Underestimate the Influence of the IAMCP. Before we get going, I'd like to mention a few things. First, this webinar is being recorded, as you just heard. If you don't wish to participate in this recorded event, we ask that you leave the webinar at this time. Next, we do have a full agenda today, so to keep on schedule, we'll be holding a Q&A session at the end. Throughout the webinar, if you do have a question, though, please post it in the chat panel, and if appropriate, we can answer it during the event, or we will hold it until the Q&A session. To kick things off, we'd like to learn a little bit about our audience today, so I have a few quick poll questions for you. So hopefully I can launch these. Let's launch the first poll. First poll question is, are you a member or have you been a member of IAMCP? And the answers could be existing member, past member, or have never been a member. So we will give a few minutes for this for everybody to start answering. Still collecting some responses here. Okay, I'm up to 83% voted. $92, almost there. Almost there. Okay. Let's see, we got about 20%. I'm going to close this poll so that this is your last opportunity. All right. Let's see. It looks as though we've got about 30% have never been a member, and we have about 17% are past members. So, and the rest are existing members. We love having you with us today. So great. It's great information. Let's go to the next poll. Are you a managed or unmanaged partner? Obviously, are you managed, unmanaged, or you don't know? And some people don't. So
if you're managed, you know it.
Right.
This is true. That sounds like a song. If you manage and you know it, clap your hands. All right. Okay, we're about 88%, almost there. Right now, see, we've got about 20% don't know. See, it's about and the remainder, it's about a 50-50 split there on managed and unmanaged. That's a great. Let's close that. And last question. This is the most important one. How did you hear about the IAMCP? I've got a few options here for you. Another IAMCP partner, at Inspire, a Microsoft person, or social media, or other. You may have heard about us from somewhere else. I'll give this a few minutes too. Right now, it looks like 50% from another IAMCP partner, so we'd love that. A pretty big number for other as well, so I'll have to find out what that other is at some point. We've got about 94%. All right. I'll close this one too. Let's see. Here, my button actually worked this time, so I could actually show you the results. So another IAMCP partner, 47%. We love that. A few from Inspire, and this other, 33%. We're going to have to dig into that and find out, right? All right. So thank you for taking the time to answer those questions. That helps us out a lot. If want to take a quick look at our agenda for today. John, I'm not seeing your slide at this moment. Is anybody else seeing John's slide?
Yeah, we can see the slide.
There it goes. Okay, I can see it now. All right, so the agenda for today, we're going to do some quick introductions, and Jeff Goldstein is going to take care of that. Then we'll begin the meat of this meeting, which is the fireside chat. We'll share some information with you on how to join the IMCP, and then we'll open it up for Q&A. And again, use that chat panel over to the right to ask any questions during the presentation. And I'll be sure to get to those at the end of the presentation. So next up, I'd like to turn things over to Jeff Goldstein, as I mentioned, IMCP President for the Americas, which includes the US, Canada, and LATAM. Over to you, Jeff.
Hello, Sandy. Thank you very much. And no, I'm not starting my impeachment hearings today, so that's someone else. That's not me. So anyway, I have the honor of making the introduction today, and this is our second in a series of 4 webinars where we have a series of panelists who are involved with the IAMCP, and the first one went extremely well, and I'm very excited about the one today. For those of you who don't know, the IAMCP, the International Association for Microsoft Channel Partners, is a non-for-profit organization made up of Microsoft partners. We're over 3,000 worldwide. We're about 1,000 in the Americas, and we hold monthly meetings at all of our chapters, throughout the United States and Americas, and they're typically once a month, the same day every month, and the goal here is to get all of our partners together so that we can generate leads and opportunities. We can talk about Microsoft and what's new at Microsoft and help them navigate the Microsoft ocean. So today we have 3 panelists who are involved with the IAMCP, and I know each one of them personally, so I can speak from experience. So the first one is Kati Quigley, and I know Kati very well because I served on the Microsoft Worldwide Partner Conference, which is now the Microsoft Inspire Committee for the partners for over 3 years. Got to work very closely with Kati on the Microsoft Inspire conference, and Kati has been one person at Microsoft who has been not only very supportive but dedicated to the IAMCP, and really a large part of our success, we really owe that to Kati. So we're going to hear from Kati today, and Kati is very supportive of the IAMCP. Thank you, Kati.
Thank you, Davin.
Davin Cooke, who is a rock star and an up and coming superstar, with the IAMCP, really has leveraged the IAMCP not only for himself but his organization at Identity Maestro. I met Davin about 2 years ago at the Microsoft Inspire conference, and he's really done a spectacular job. So I think everybody here on the call is going to want to hear from Davin and how he's leveraged the IAMCP, not only to help himself, personally, but to also help his, organization and get introductions to Microsoft partners. And John Nicolau, I know very well, also originally was the president of the IAMCP, Chicago chapter, joined the IAMCP US board several years ago. I got to know John, very well, and John is very committed to the IAMCP. And we're also going to hear from John how he grew his business using the IAMCP and what benefits he realized from the IAMCP and, the success that he's had over at ZLan, partners. And John is a great example, of a IAMCP or Microsoft partner who's taken advantage of the IAMCP and really has gotten involved in one of our voices for innovation, and really has helped not only his business, but has helped Microsoft get visibility with legislatures and politicians that influence voting on policy that impacts Microsoft and the Microsoft channel. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to John Rivers, and John Rivers is going to run the fireside chat. Thank you, John.
Thanks for that, Jeff. As everyone, I'm sure, is ready to get into the meat of this call. So with that said, I'm not going to hold it up anymore. So my first question here is for Kati. Katie, why does Microsoft invest time and resources in the IMCP?
Yes, that's a great question. The IMCP is deeply rooted in the partner ecosystem for Microsoft, and it is the one core community that has always been relied upon by the channel to be able to draw that partner-to-partner connection. Because, like you said, I like the term used, the ocean that is Microsoft. It just continues to get broader and broader, the portfolio that we're offering and the integration and just the complexity of the solutions. And so typically when partner company can't do it all, it really has to typically be a connected partner ecosystem to be able to deliver solutions to our joint customers. And so IMCP has been the strongest vehicle and channel for that ability to connect partners to partners, and that's why it's so important to us.
Great. Yeah, it's been a while that I know that you've been involved in the IMCP a long time. Davin.
Yeah, it's been fun to see it grow up as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Davin, as Jeff definitely gave you a great introduction. Davin, how has the IMCP helped you be successful with being a Microsoft partner who actually relocated to the US from a different country?
Right. No, absolutely. Thanks, John. It's kind of a fun story. So I'm originally from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And about 9 years ago, we were living there happily. I was working for an ISV partner that was headquartered there in Canada. And we were just starting to go through our Microsoft strategy. We had been a ISV partner that was in a totally different field, but we were kind of a burgeoning Microsoft partner at the time. We did a lot of conversions during the Office 365 conversion heydays from a legacy messaging system. So my understanding of the Microsoft partner ecosystem was pretty immature, but it was my job to maintain the accounts that were converting to Office 365 and also let Microsoft partners know about our conversion capabilities in hopes that they would use us and leverage this technology that we had. I was in charge of all of the central United States at the time, and I was doing about 55% of my revenue in Texas. So it became apparent to remain relevant and protect my base. It'd be important for me to live where my competition was sharing barbecues with my clients. So our company attended WPC, it was called back then, in Los Angeles. And that was like, I think 2011. Katie would know for sure.
Right,
it was. And there I met some of our Austin chapter members. So it was kind of a fun evening. We were out there in Los Angeles under the sun, summer sun, hot, but being taken care of by our Microsoft friends. I immediately befriended several of them. And as my wife had already strongly suggested that if we're going to move to Texas from Canada, it should be the most Canadian place in Texas to live. So that had to be Austin. So I reached out to these contacts. I inquired where to live, and their suggestions helped me narrow my search. And at the time, Austin was very much of a growing tech hub. It was pretty hard to find a place here in town, but through their help, I was able to rent a house for a year and eventually bought one where I live now. But I really didn't know where to start. So in August 2012, we made the move. We arrived in August in Texas, which is 2 million degrees Kelvin. Your barbecues are preheated for you, so that's one of the good trade-offs there. But our furniture hadn't arrived, and one of the board members came over, saw that we had nothing to sleep on, and immediately lent us some mattresses so that the kids and we were no longer sleeping on the floor. So true Texas sort of hospitality. But my relationship didn't stop there. As a company, we continue to invest in WPC, now called Inspire, and we've leveraged many of the relationships and the events that the IMCP has at Inspire. And of course, these have become a very key component of our partner acquisition strategy at Inspire. But of course, I was also immediately started to attend many of the meetings here locally in Austin and was introduced to several partners and other board members. I sponsored a chapter event kind of to give back. And I was immediately approached by one of the members, and that introduction proved fruitful. It allowed us to launch our partner-friendly SaaS version of the software and resulted in about $100,000 worth of recurring revenue per year for us at the time. So that was a direct introduction, and as a result of me being a member and speaking. So gradually I got more involved in the chapter, as you probably know. Started first as secretary, taking all the notes and trying to send out all the minutes and trying to keep up with all the shenanigans. I had a brief stint as membership chair, which was great because I got to meet every new member. And then eventually, about 2 years ago, I was promoted to Austin chapter president, which I've now held up until this January, and we're hoping to have someone move into my role so I can take more of a consultative position here on our board. The company I was working for was acquired in 2016 during this time. But the relationships I'd formed and the understanding of the Microsoft market that I have created mostly through IAMCP has allowed me to take up the reins to be a senior partner strategist for our company, maintain the current role that I have today. Also, I help consult the sister company of our ownership to maintain their Microsoft strategy. And it's allowed me to remain living here in Texas, where my kids, Canadian kids, now call home. And we're still thriving and surviving here in Austin, Texas.
That's a great story there, Davin. And with that said, I know that John's also got another great story. But so, John, you successfully sold your company to a Fortune 500 company. How is the IAMCP? How did the IAMCP help you increase the value and awareness of your company?
Well, good morning from cold and snowy Chicago, and thank you, John, for that question, and thanks for including me. I've been part of the Microsoft ecosystem since the late 90s, and had initially worked for a prominent partner here in Chicago. And before that, I had my own business in consulting, and I'd worked for this partner for a number of years, and the entrepreneurial bug bit again. So with a couple colleagues, we started our own firm back in the early 2000s, and grew that company, merged with another company in 2012, grew that company as well as a Microsoft Gold partner for a number of years here in Chicago. And the folks at Sharp Business Systems took notice of our success in the managed services arena, but they were not having the same level of success on the Microsoft side. So rather than try and reinvent the wheel themselves, they decided to acquire us a year ago, last March 2018, to leverage the success that we had as part of the Microsoft ecosystem. And at that time, they really weren't privy to how the ecosystem worked. So because of our knowledge and experience over the past almost 20 years, they began to attend, some of the executives attend Inspire with me, and it gave them a chance to meet with some of the executive folks in One Commercial Partner program and really began to educate them as to the capabilities of partnering with Microsoft could be. So with us just being this small little managed services provider here in Chicagoland, we've now branched out to 25 plus cities across the country where we're helping foster and grow the Microsoft business in those branches that Sharp has owned. And now we're bringing the Microsoft playbook, if you will, to those various branches around the country. So it's been a double win for us in the sense that we've helped Sharp acquire Microsoft talent, but at the same time used our technical abilities to help folks in the Sharp branches around the country expand their offerings, because they realize that multifunction printers and LED displays are not where the future is. The future's in cloud and managed services, and I've already seen in the 18 months since we've been acquired us grow our business in these various territories such that it's been a positive influence both financially and professionally for us here at ZLan Partners and Sharp IT Business.
Yeah, I know when we were talking about your story, I know you had a really strong story there. That's one of the reasons I wanted to get you on the call, John. So this, I know one of the reasons we always try to keep this fireside chat a little bit short, because I know we're always concerned about people's time. So I have one question I want to basically propose to everyone on this call, or to the panelists on this call. What would you say is your #1 reason why a Microsoft partner who maybe has never been a member of the IAMCP or has been in the past should become an IAMCP member?
I'm happy to jump in on
Yeah,
that
do you want
one.
to jump in, John?
And this just happened this week. Another example. So I've been a member of the IMCP for about 15 years now, served on the board in various positions over the last 4 or 5 years, now on the US board. I would say the most valuable, or one of the most valuable things that's happened to me as a result of my relationship with the IMCP is we play in a certain sandbox, and we do that really well from an infrastructure managed services perspective. There are areas that we don't play in at all. For example, in the Dynamics suite of offerings, or in app development, or SharePoint, and a couple of other areas that just are not, we don't have that expertise and talent on our team. So being a member of the IMCP has provided me an opportunity to interface and partner with other Microsoft partners that play in different sandboxes. And especially with the acquisition by Sharp, us being known as the go-to technical partner in the Sharp family, I have Sharp account managers from around the country contact me looking for expertise in certain areas that are Microsoft centric, but that we don't necessarily have that skill set. So it's very easy for me to reach out to either a local partner here in Chicago, or because I've been on the US board for a number of years and know presidents from around the country of the other chapters, or even around the country or the world, excuse me, I have no problem picking up the phone or shooting an email to another chapter saying, hey, I'm looking for expertise and boots in the ground in your region. What can you do to assist me? And because I know these folks, there's a certain trust there that's become understood over the years. So it's very easy for me to reach out and access expertise that I don't have in a different part of the country, and therefore become not only a trusted advisor to my clients here, but trusted advisor to other branches from Sharp around the country, and I can give them the expertise they need for their clients' needs. So that alone has helped me increase my value to my clients here in Chicago by partnering with other Microsoft partners, but also partnering across the country.
Yeah, and I would add on to that. I think I absolutely agree with everything you just said about why to be a Microsoft partner. It's hard to pick one because I think there's kind of two sides to the coin. I think there's the business side that you just talked about with, expanding your ability to serve your customer, for having a network where you can reach out to other partners to connect with and to develop, business solutions and get new customers. But there's a very personal side of it too. I think that what I saw, and it was most amazing and inspiring to me, were the relationships that were developed. And those relationships were very deeply personal, in a way that they helped each other lift each other up, and really make everyone else better, to be able to either mentor, coach, be mentored by, to learn from, to ask questions in a kind of a safe environment with partners that maybe do exactly what you do, but in a different geography. And so that's what inspired me every single day, is just the personal relationships that I saw just blossom. It's pretty incredible to see.
Exactly. Yeah. To echo, maybe to strengthen it as well, the #1 thing would be to have that network, drop in ready to talk, willing forum to bounce ideas off, to test the waters before heading down a development path. Imagine having that kind of insight, especially in areas like Chicago or Tampa, before entering into those markets. Almost like having like a little Gartner or Deloitte in your back pocket that costs you less than a lunch. So I think it's very much worth your investment.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate all three of you joining us today. With that said, I'm going to actually pass the reins back to Jeff so we can actually wrap up the call.
Thank you, John. Okay, so really benefits, you heard the benefits directly from, Katie, you heard it from John, you heard it from, Davin, and that's why we wanted you to hear, directly from, people at Microsoft and people that are our partners and what the value is and what the benefits are and what they realized as a result of, joining the IAMCP. And I was just speaking to a group of women who represent women in technology, and I was just explaining to them that you get out of it what you put into it. So if you join the IAMCP, you need to participate and you need to, attend meetings, and then you need to get people's business cards and then meet with them afterwards and generate relationships. So as long as you invest the time, you'll get benefit out of the IAMCP. So our chapters typically meet once per month in person meetings, and this is where all the networking is done. We also have a virtual chapter. So for those of you who are not located near a physical chapter that meets either at a Microsoft office or a Microsoft store, then we do have a virtual chapter that meets once a month, and we've had great attendance for that. In addition, we do have other meetings throughout the month, which include our leadership call, where we go over things that are happening within the Microsoft community. And then most importantly, we also have a town hall meeting, and that's your meeting for you to bring up any topics that you would like to. There typically is no agenda for that meeting. It's run by David Gersten, our vice president, and typically you can bring up any topics that you would like to discuss or like information on. So there's a lot of ways to be able to participate in the IAMCP, whether you're near a chapter, you're not near a chapter, or you just want to participate, remotely. So John has on the screen here where you can go to our website, www.iamcp.org. You can see all of our chapter meetings throughout the world. So if you're ever traveling, I happen to have been in Sweden this summer and went and joined the meeting. I was in Copenhagen, met with people, IAMCP members in Copenhagen. When I travel throughout the United States, I always look to see if there's a chapter or a chapter meeting, coming up, and then I try to attend those, meetings, and I find those very informative, and I develop relationships that last, forever. And like John had mentioned, he's growing his business, and now with the acquisition of his company, now he has a footprint in 25 different cities across the United States, and now he needs partners to be able to work with, and he does that through the IAMCP. So that was a tremendous example, of how he uses the IAMCP to help and support his, business. So please go to our website, www.iamcp.org. You'll be able to see all of the chapter meetings throughout the entire world. One of the things that John and his team did is consolidated all our websites, so all of our members are listed within our website. We can see all of the chapter meetings, and if you have any questions about the membership, you can email us.membership@iamcp.org. So with that, I think we're going to end the meeting. John, is there anything that you'd like to add to what I said, or Sandy?
We're actually going to open up for a quick Q&A. So with that said, Sandy, do you want to take hold of the Q&A?
Absolutely. All right. At this point, we will open it up for questions. If anybody has a question, you can either raise your hand or type it in the chat or questions panel. I did have a couple come through, although this first one was, how do I find a local chapter? I think Jeff pretty much covered all of that, but John, I'll just, see if you have anything else to add to what Jeff had spoken about as our membership chair at the moment.
Yeah, so I think just to remind, it's an easy way to find a chapter. Just go up onto the imcp.org website. You will actually find a drop down. It will say chapters, and then you can go and look for your local area. And as Jeff was saying, if you're unable to find a local chapter, and you can see it again, we're talking about it on this slide, then you can actually look at our virtual chapter that also meets up once a month as well. So got you covered
Jeff,
wherever
I'm
you
going
are.
to ask, maybe you can mute yourself. There seems to be some background noise coming from your end. There we go. Go ahead, John. Sorry about that.
Yeah, so if you aren't able to find a chapter that's nearby to you, then you can also look to our virtual chapter, which will also help you as well.
Great. All right, and let's see, here was another one. Let's see, how do you find other partners that are members? Okay, I can take that one. Um, I'm not only the Boston chapter president, I wear multiple hats. I'm also the sponsorship chair. And one of the things that we do have is something that we call the index. So there's a few ways that you can find other members within the IAMCP community. One, of course, is once you become a member, you can go out to our website and you can find other members and connect with them. And there's all sorts of capabilities via the website. You can message one another, you can chat, things like that. But I guess the biggest thing would be the index itself, which is more than just a partner directory. It's open to all of our members as well as non-members. So anyone that is not a member of IAMCP that hears about us and they want to find a partner, a Microsoft partner to work with, they can access this information as well. And every member of IAMCP gets a free listing in the index, which allows you to put information about your company, list your competencies, things like that. And there are search capabilities within that. So if you're looking for a partner with a specific competency, or you're looking for a partner in a specific area, you can put in that search criteria and you can find those partners. And, you know, we've talked to members that use the index, and some of them have told us that 60% of their business comes from other IAMCP partners and the use of the index. So anybody that is a member that's on the call today, I would encourage you to claim your free listing minimally, and there are things that you can do to upgrade your listing and include more information and even have kind of like ad space within the index as well. So those are a couple of ways that you can find partners. I mean, that's what we're all about, is that P2P partnering. So we try to make it easy for our partners to find additional partners to, you know, partner with and do business together. Let's see. I don't see any other questions. I'm just going to take a quick look at the attendees again to see if anybody has raised their hand for a question. Richard Novi, it looks like you raised your hand. I'm not sure if that's to ask a question or whether it was earlier, so I'll unmute you. Did you have a question, Richard, or was that just
No, I was
earlier?
just commenting on the background noise.
The background noise, okay. All right, great.
It was just kind of hard to hear sometimes, but other than that, it was fine. Thank you.
Okay, great. All right, so I don't think, Jeff, I don't think we have anything else here today. No other questions. So with that, I guess we can end the meeting for today. We will be scheduling, again, this was the second of a 4-part series, so we will be scheduling our third probably within the next month or so. So watch your emails for information on our next session. I'd like to thank Katie, Davin, and John for participating today. And we look forward to seeing you all on a future webcast. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody. Safe
Thank
travel,
you.
Katie.
Thank you.
Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.